Okay, let's go into Brad's question. He says, first off, I love the app, podcast, and adaptive training, and 5 stars all around. Thank you, Brad. If you're listening to this, go to Spotify and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, which is awesome, by the way, which means that if you have Spotify apps on your TV or anything else, that means that you can have the podcast there. I really recommend listening to the podcast on Spotify. It's awesome. There's also timestamps that are linked in the podcast. We can't link those timestamps in other podcast apps, but in Spotify we can. So basically, if you scroll down in the description, you'll be able to tap where it says at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, we talk about this. You'll be able to tap that and it will just take you there. So pro tip, Spotify is awesome for podcast listening, and you can rate the podcast on there. That would be huge. It's a new feature, so there's not as many ratings there as there are in the Apple App Store. So please go rate the podcast 5 stars. We would love that very much. So, okay. Brad says, my goals are to have as much fun as possible while mountain biking. Being more fit makes it more fun. That is the truth right there. Mm-hmm. Being more fit, because mountain biking is so much fun, but if you're completely boxed the whole time, it sucks the fun right out of it. So he says, I've seen a big increase in FTP since using TrainerRoad. I'm on the cross-country Olympic plan and was thrilled to use FTP estimation instead of taking another FTP test. Way to go. Yes. Amber, new feature just went out with that. Is that correct? Or am I overstepping and saying that now if you use AI FTP detection, when you do that, you used to just get a template, like a basic workout tossed in, hard-coded one. Has that changed for everybody yet?
Yep. So now if you use AI FTP, so if you have a ramp test, you can, instead of taking the ramp test, click a button, use FTP detection. And then our AI FTP detection tool will detect your new FTP. If you accept that, you don't have to take the ramp test, and we will actually replace that with a custom workout. So an adapted workout that is individualized according to your plan.
Which is pretty awesome, because now you'll be able to, your same day that you have a test, whereas before you might have had that test, whatever, if you did a ramp test or if you did any other testing format, that might have blown out your day, maybe even the next day. Now you can keep your training on track. And if you add that up, I don't know, let's say that you take somewhere around like 6 or 8 tests per year that you do. If you do that, that's 8 training days that you now get, which by the end of the year, if you add up 8 training days, that's not insignificant. That's something that's valuable. Yeah. So that's a cool thing. I just use it this week, Amber. It said that I was not at 305 anymore. I'm at 313. I accepted. Nice. My ego was very happy with that as well. Now we get to see if my legs are happy, but adaptive training will take care of that. I don't have to worry about that. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Okay. So, Brad says, my question is, what is the best way to use TrainerRoad 2 days per week? And our low volume plans have 3 workouts per week. Our mid volume have 4 to 5. And then our high volume typically have 5 to 6. So that's the context here. And he says, I like to ride hard on my mountain bike. And I've found that the 3 workouts plus 2 mountain bike rides, read hard mountain bike rides, and a hike every week is too much. Will it mess up adaptive training? Yeah, it is. It sounds fun though. I like that. Yeah. It says, will it mess up adaptive training by skipping the 3rd workout? Do I mark it as a completed outdoor ride if my mountain bike ride was similar? Outdoor rides can't really be easy since I live in San Diego and the trails are only in areas where it's too steep to build townhouses. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks to the TrainerRoad team. So Brad, I'm going to go through and Amber and I can kind of go through and alternate through these ones. But the first question that you say is, will it mess up adaptive training by skipping the 3rd workout? So let's say you have 2 out of 3 workouts. Amber, what would you say to that?
It won't mess up the training, in that adaptive training will adapt. So regardless of which workout you skip, adaptive training will adapt your plan accordingly. So you can still progress through the plan. If you're missing the same day every week, then probably, then you might not progress through the plan the way the plan intends. But that might not be a terrible thing in your case, because you're not necessarily trying to specialize for a specific event. So you will get fitter. You will get faster. It's just not going to progress you the way that the plan intends, is the only thing. But no, it's not going to mess up adaptive training for you. Adaptive training adjusts to you and to what you are doing. So you can't really mess it up.
Yeah, exactly. His next question of outdoor rides, or forgive me, do I mark it as a completed outdoor ride if my mountain bike ride was similar? So in this case, he's saying, let's say Brad skips Fridays. And if Brad skips Fridays, and then Brad does his mountain bike ride, has a blast, and then he comes back, and then on TrainerRoad, you can associate, you can say, well, I did that ride, but it was outside, and you can mark it as completed. I wouldn't do that, Brad, unless it really closely matched the profile of the workout, because that's what you're really wanting to get at here is if you're marking it as completed, that's going to tell adaptive training for now. In the future, it's going to analyze your outdoor rides and give you credit for every energy system where you got benefit from that ride. And it's really exciting. But for now, what it will do is it will just trust you. And when you say that you completed that workout, it will say, okay, I'm going to mark that as a completion. So I assume that that athlete did that workout as it was prescribed. So I wouldn't want to do that, because then that could get you in a spot. Let's say that that's your threshold day. I'm just throwing this out there. That's your threshold day. And you just keep marking them completed. And as a result, you've moved up around 0.3 to 0.5 per week in your progression levels. And you've just marched along. And at the end of your 8 weeks, then you have like a threshold workout that you actually can do. Well, like comes as a shock, no threshold training to suddenly do a threshold workout and have a higher level than you have been doing. So that's why I wouldn't do that. Maxine, actually, I think I'm going to share my screen here so I can show what I think would be a better approach for this. Because I think personally, I think TrainNow would be a fantastic approach for this. So this is my calendar, by the way. Happy threshold workout day for me. But if I click on TrainNow, I'm going to try to narrate this for people that are listening on the podcast. But what it does is it gives you 3 different recommendations or 3 different categories of workouts: endurance, climbing, and attacking. And then it allows me to select the duration that I want. So if I only have 30 minutes that day, it's going to give me workouts that are 30 minutes. But if I have 90 minutes, it's going to give me workouts that are 90 minutes. And if I don't like any of those, I can also hit refresh, and then it will give me fresh workouts if I don't like the way a certain workout looks. I think this would actually be a great fit for you, Brad, because then you'd be able to just get in 2 quality workouts. They won't drive you toward a specific plan. And Brad, you didn't mention this. I don't know if you have like a specific race you're preparing for, if you're just trying to be more fit. And if you're just trying to be more fit for mountain biking, TrainNow is awesome, because it's going to give you structured training that will give you aerobic fitness and get you there. And something kind of cool that it does is recommended badge here. The reason it says recommended is because I've been training hard this week, and so this is kind of sneaky, but what it does is it actually looks at your outside rides, and it does a level of analysis that is nowhere near as in depth as it will do in the future. But it looks at that and says, oh, that was kind of a hard day yesterday. I'm not going to recommend that they do a climbing workout or an attacking workout, which attacking is usually short, higher intensity efforts. Climbing is usually more sustained efforts around threshold. So it knows that. So when you do your outside rides, if you have a power meter on there, it's going to say, oh, that's it. Brad did a really hard workout yesterday, so I'm just going to recommend an endurance workout today. So it still wouldn't drive you too deep. All these workouts are productive, as you can see as well, which is really cool. So that way you know that when you drop in, it's never going to give you something too hard. So yeah, I think that would be a great approach. Maxine, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for everybody, but that's in TrainerRoad. It's kind of the 2 ways that people train with TrainerRoad. It's like you follow a plan, or you can do TrainNow. And I think a lot of athletes would actually really benefit from following the TrainNow side of things, unless you have a very specific goal you're going for, like a race or an event, or you're doing something like you want the constant, I guess, what would it be? The constant fact of having a training plan where you have to knock out those workouts. If you feel like that's beneficial to keeping you going, then that a training plan would be great too. But otherwise, TrainNow is pretty good.
And one thing to note about TrainNow, in case people aren't aware of it, I just want to make sure that we say this explicitly. It is adaptive to you. So it's going to be the workouts that you see on TrainNow are based on the same model that makes adaptations on a custom training plan. So if you're on a custom training plan, it's going to adapt you, but TrainNow does the same thing, only it's just not on a plan. It's just when you go in and you see these workout options, and you can, like Jonathan said, adjust duration. It is the same model that is making those recommendations for you. So it will progress you. And so the workouts that you see will continually match your increase in fitness and be appropriate for you. So you'll still be getting all the right workouts. It just won't be part of a plan. It's just a different approach.
Yeah, great points, Amber. I want to spend some time talking about this from a larger concept perspective of fitting training into riding versus fitting riding into training, because there's you can almost like divide or identify a person and put them into a group based off of this. A person either trains and they fit in riding when they can, or they ride and they fit in training where they can. And they're two kind of very different approaches. I feel like there's no right or wrong way, and it's very personal to what you want to do. And I have had to bounce back and forth from this, where I'm like, I am training all the time. And I get to a point where I'm like, I have not actually just ridden my bike in months because I'm just training. And I can fall out of love with the bike a little bit and lose some intrinsic motivation when I do that. If I'm just training all the time and I'm not just getting out and enjoying the bike. For some people, that is totally, that's fine with them. And I can probably go years, honestly, like that and still go. But I do find that everything is a bit better when I really enjoy riding the bike. And I get that from training, but I really get it from riding, when I can just have a day where I'm riding fun trails with friends or doing a nice group ride or a beautiful road ride or something. So there's no right or wrong way. And you might go back and forth throughout it. Hannah, at least for me personally, Hannah, how do you feel about that as a pro athlete? Because it's your job to train. Do you find yourself getting in the spots where you never ride and you just train?
I think riding is also my job. I think that riding and training should go together. Especially when we're talking about skill work, the best skill work I can do is when I'm playing on my bike. And I think that's something that a lot of kids are really excellent at, is they go out and they're willing to just play on a jump for hours and hours and hours. And that's what makes little kids such good bike handlers, is they play. And so I think that's something that I actually sometimes need to force myself to do more, is to just ride. And so being a very type A person, I still have to schedule this time because it doesn't necessarily come naturally, but I like to put it all together so that I still have that feeling of accomplishment. And then I don't feel any stress when I, turn off my bike computer, put it in the back pocket, or not turn it off. Let's be honest. I still record it, but I put it in the back pocket so I'm not looking at it, and just go ride. And so usually how I do that is I'll have my workout and I'll do my intervals and I'll, focus and make sure I hit everything the way I need to. And then I'll have a planned amount of time after that where I'm just riding. It could be, and then I jump on the trails for 30 minutes or 45 or 60. Sometimes it's hours. Sometimes I'll have a 1 hour, quote unquote, training ride, but I'm going to ride for 4 hours that day. So then I have 3 hours unstructured where I'm just on the trails, having fun, doing what I need to do. And if that's a possibility for this individual, that is what I would recommend, because it sounds like what you're really trying to fulfill is a love for your bike alongside being fit. And so it seems to me that if you're doing 3 workouts plus 2 mountain bike rides, why not do 2 workouts and then whatever the math is on that, basically just do your workouts and then have some of them also be mountain bike rides, do the ride. And then after the workout, keep riding. And maybe one of you can explain how that would work on the TrainnerRoad platform. Would that be extended cool down, or how would they do that?
With outside workouts, it's pretty darn easy. So any workout you have on your calendar, you can just make it an outside workout and then it automatically pushes to your Garmin or Wahoo.
Perfect.
One of the ways that I do this locally is trails usually have some vertical element to them, right? So I go up the road part, and I'll either, if I have time in between intervals, I'll go up a road, then down a trail in between, or I'll just do my repeats on the road, get my intervals done. And then after that, I'm at the trailhead, and then I can just ride down. I can add on, just like you said, because once you accomplish the workout on your Garmin or Wahoo, it even, like on Garmin, it even plays like a cute little tone when you finish. You're done, it celebrates. And then at that point, you can just ride. So that's the best way to do it. And outside workouts, you can do these workouts outside, and it's just a great way to do it, Brad, in this case. More athletes should... I was going to say more athletes should be using the outside workouts year round in this capacity. Like, let's say you're racing and have a race season going through, drop down on your volume and use TrainerRoad to get workouts that are qualified use. Then you aren't trying to do workouts midweek that are blowing you up and doing too much. Then you end up not fresh at your workout or at your races. Or if you go to a point where you train a lot, then after that, you just want to ride all summer. You just want to do amazing rides. you should absolutely use TrainerRoad for that purpose too, just to top off your fitness. 1 to 2 interval workouts a week and you'll be fine. And it's a great way to do it. So yeah, I think it's underutilized, and it makes, like Brad said, riding way more enjoyable when you're fit. And we hear so many times when athletes are like, yeah, I'm super fit in the spring. And then in the summer, they're like, oh, I'm not fit. Riding's really hard. And it's because you don't have to do a lot, just 1 to 2 workouts a week, and you can maintain a whole lot with it. So it's a good approach.
And
Sorry, Amber.
A workout is really just like a set of intervals within a ride, along the lines of what Hannah was describing. And one of the really nice features of exporting your workouts to a head unit is, and I'm not sure if you haven't used it before, you might not realize this, but you don't have to start the interval until you decide to. So you start the interval when you're at the hill where you want to do your repeats, or at the road where you want to do your repeats, or when it's safe. And so you hit that lap button, and then that's when you start. So it's not like you roll out of your driveway and you better start your interval
Gotta go.
in exactly 10 minutes. No, it doesn't work that way. So you can ride out to where you're comfortable doing your interval set, and you start it when you're ready, when you feel safe, when you're in the right place. It's a really, really cool feature. And you can, like Jonathan said, you can keep your fitness on track. And like Hannah said, you can do both at the same time. You keep your fitness on track with a little bit of structure, but you throw that into a bigger loop or trail or route that is really appealing and fun and allows you to do some playing.
Yeah. Great advice, Hannah, on doing both instead of just putting yourself into one of the buckets, right? I think it's a great way to do it.
If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.
If you didn't like this video, you can give it a thumbs down, but let us know what you would have done differently in the comments below.
If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, check out TrainerRoad.com.
Do it.